My name is Taylor. This is Hack and Company at Remax River City, and we are the highest rated and reviewed real estate team on rankmyagent.com. We're looking forward to helping as many families as we can this year avoid those three-star experiences by making sure that they're in a position to make their next move remarkable. We're going to welcome the team back into the room. I think I've got these controls working. We got Tony, we got Erida, we got Kim. This is going the right direction now. You know what? If I was really slick, I would have a fancy background right now, right? Like I would have something that said maybe the segment that we were leading on. Did it work?
That looks good.
Hey, Taylor can run a computer. It only took 42 minutes. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming back. When we're helping people engage the marketplace, when people are looking online, I think that they're looking for like, can I live here? Can I live here now? Oh, I could live there. I could live there for sure. But when we take a look at real estate, we take a look at it a little bit differently. So let's talk about our buyers moving through this experience, because they're going to start by kind of being concerned, like we talked about initially. The biggest concerns of most buyers out there, what do we know them as? They don't want to
missing the one.
Yeah, they don't want to miss the one. That's like the number one thing we hear. What's the number two thing we hear?
Overpaying. They don't want to do that.
So concerning to think about spending this much money, and they don't want to miss the one. They don't want to overpay. And then we're going to take them out into the market, and you often are showing a collection of properties one after the next. And a buyer is going to get a feeling, right? They're going to be like, oh man, this one feels better than the other ones that I had taken a look at. But at that point, it's going to be us to step forward, because when buyers are looking at properties, they go through and get themselves prepped. Like they go and have those mortgage pre-approvals done by Annie from TD, or also by Jeremy from Quickfire. They have great professionals work there, and then they go and find that house. But then after that, how do you know that that deal's a good deal? Like I know when you go to the car dealership, they're going to have like manufacturer's suggested retail price on the stickers. I know when I go to the grocery store, it's the same thing. But are prices set with a standard in real estate? I think prices are set with a dartboard in real estate. I think that there's many houses on our market right now that the list price is a direct reflection of how the seller feels about what their next steps are. Like if I got this much money, I would get the house that I'm looking for, no problem. And that's why it's so important to start to reveal what makes the value of houses. So we like to boil it down. We like to boil everything down to its essence. And how we look at this is the value of a property is basically where it is, what it is, and how well it's kept. Those are the three major factors, or what we know as being location, characteristics, and condition. So Kim, you're out in the market regularly taking buyers through this, and often we're doing a buyer consultation in advance where we're showing this information on a screen. When you're talking to people, getting them prepared for the market about location, where their house is matters so much because they can't move it. How are you helping them understand what location means to them?
So basically, for location, there's above average location, there's average location, and below average location. So breaking that down, average location would be, the average experience. It could be, in front of a collective road. Below average would be backing onto a condo style building, or a busy road. And then above average would be like backing onto water, backing onto a park, backing onto green space. So we just want to make sure, that they're picking the right location that fits them, that will, benefit them in the long run.
Yeah, like if they have kids, they may want to be in a cul-de-sac, right?
Yeah.
But I've actually had clients of mine in the past ask that they not be like buried into the neighborhood, so they have to do all the slow driving on their way through. Location can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people, but I like that you mentioned condos, because I'm not sure if you've been in a backyard that backs onto a condo building, but in some cases it feels like the world is watching every time you go to barbecue.
Mm-hmm. Or you don't get that sunlight, that, that natural light, because you're being blocked by a big, condo building.
Yeah, exposure is a big deal. And that's one of the things that we find that isn't necessarily easy to navigate from the public tools. I appreciate you sharing on that. And the other thing that we're often talking about is the characteristics of a property, or how big is it and who does it serve. I think that could be so confusing if you're just scrolling on realtor.ca. Like you could see a 2,000 square foot 2-story, and then you could see a 1,500 square foot bungalow. And, that would make a lot of sense if the 2,000 square foot 2-story had more livable space. But if they both have fully finished basements, those houses are really close to the same size. And the bungalow actually has an edge in its overall square footage. So I think that there's many things that we can do to like decode real estate, but also, a lot of people get excited about the pictures. But Doro, when you're walking clients through the different homes that you walk through, there's some pretty significant variance in condition. What do you
Well,
see?
yeah, there is, Taylor. So we're deciding here between, we're like trying to make a decision between an average, a pristine, and low conditions. So, and when I talk average, that is a home that it shows that people lived in there. It's not perfect. It might have a few nicks, but nothing is broken and it is move-in ready. So that would be the average. And when we're talking about a pristine condition, we might be looking at a house here that was lived in by an older couple with no pets, very well maintained, down to the windows and the roof. We also call this pride of home ownership, and of course, move-in ready. And the the low condition would be these homes need work. For example, a handyman special, or a home that requires a lot of updates and might not be move-in ready. So a definite indicator of wear and tear of floors. And like if the hardwood looks like a skating rink, or when the carpet has these roads in there, or it's pretty matted and frayed. Yeah, so these are good indicators of a worn out house, that needs a lot of work.
That's interesting. So when you're walking through a property, you get a really good sense just by looking at the flooring. You can kind of see if that hardwood looks like a skating rink, evidence of dogs and so on. And having your eye on that really helps the buyers move through the house and just get a sense if they like it overall.
Exactly.
Because obviously you can buy a property that has low condition as long as you don't pay a price for a high condition home. But I find that it's not just a difference in the condition, it's also upgrades. Like Erida, we were walking through a house the other day and walking into the kitchen, from one kitchen to the next kitchen, from one showing to the next, it was a pretty big difference. I remember you making comments about how the one property had upgraded cabinets. What are you looking for when you're stepping into a kitchen?
So you might want to see if the cabinets are to the ceiling, if the countertops are granite, things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of upgrades to be had in those pendant lights and some recessed lighting. I think everybody likes a double wall oven, but you can kind of get your heart set on those things and start to look past some of the other elements. I'm not sure if you guys have had this experience, but do you ever have a friend that had like a bad boyfriend? And he was like really fun, but only worked sometimes?
Yeah.
This is what a purchase could be for you if you do it blind, right? Like they say that love is blind, but at some point you got to open your eyes and see what you got there. And I think it's so important to have these conversations up front, like Doro was mentioning, to talk about what condition are you comfortable with? Is there anybody here that's handy, or is this something that you would have to be taken care of by professionals? That's going to change the house that fits you. Or what Kim was mentioning, like, do you have a family with young kids where you really want to control traffic? Or are you in a situation where you wouldn't want to be next to a school? Like, we serve a lot of shift workers, and those bell buzzers are something that we can end up talking about all the time. And then also taking a look at the condition, like moving from one house to the next and taking a look at which upgrades it has is something that you can see. But what about those weak points? Is there anything that needs renovation? Are there upgrades that are inconsistent or of poor quality? That's the hard one to go after, or the hard one to see. It's so lovely in the pictures when it looks good. But then when you go there and you take a look down by the baseboards and you see awful gaps, that's tough to take. So, Tony, once we collect all these data and have all these conversations up front about what someone would really like, how does that turn into, essentially really creating the readiness with them?
Yeah, that's awesome. We love having these conversations, and we love moving people over to the Pro Tools. So they've got all their pre-approvals, they're ready to go. Let's get them custom fitted, just like a tailor would make a suit, right? Let's get them fitted so they know exactly what neighborhoods they would consider that's close to all the schools that they need to be close to. How many bedrooms? Is there enough for everybody? And what, the public tools don't give you access to things like a lot direction or lot size, or maybe even where the master or primary bedroom is located on which floor. And so these are things that we can do to tweak using the Pro Tools. So as an example, with the direction of the house, we actually have the ability to determine which way the house faces in our search. So the most desirable for most people would be having a south facing backyard. So that would give us the ability to look for north, northeast, or northwest facing homes, and then basically, hide all the rest of the stuff that you wouldn't consider. And then it also gives us the ability to see how often these properties actually come to market. And so if your frequency is low, we might say, the house that you would consider probably won't be here till October, based on the fact that it only comes around maybe once or twice a year. And then the other thing that we like about the Pro Tools is it gives families the ability to, search and favorite the houses they like. So instead of saying, hey, honey, did you see that green garage? You could be like, the one with the heart. That's the one we want to see, Tony. Let me know.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
it just makes everything really easy from our standpoint, and the buyers really like that.
Yeah, because you're talking about Collab Center, where they can go in, they both have login credentials.
Mm-hmm.
And then as one spouse hits the heart, the other spouse can go in and check the favorites. Like, I'm not sure if it's the same in every family, but in my family, I know that my wife is going to look at 300 houses and I'm going to look at 3. And that's how it's going to roll. Like, she's going to essentially take a look at more. She's probably more interested in seeing all the available options. But I can tell you that as a real estate expert, when we bought a house, I saw one. My wife is like, we're going to see this house. And I said, okay. Is it?
Yeah, and the other
nice?
thing that
Do you
the other thing that
buy
we
it?
like to do
And
with
that
these
was
Pro
it.
Tool searches, the other thing we like to do is that we get to see the good stuff on day 0, right? Where the public tools there's a bit of a delay to update, and then you also have to be like on it. Like, when do you know? What time do you go see all the new listings on realtor.ca? Well, with us, all the good stuff, as soon as it hits the MLS, it ends up in your inbox. And so, before the public tools families see it, and then we get the opportunity to potentially buy it before the other people even get a chance to see it.
Wait a second, Doro, the other night you were in multiple offers. How many other offers were there?
6.
6 offers. So I'm wondering how many people would have bought this house that were scrolling, because like last week, I just did my segment on LinkedIn. There was 900 listings in the greater Edmonton area last week. So if you were scrolling and sifting, by the time you're like, oh, we should go see this. And then if you don't have an agent, you're contacting maybe the listing agent, making an appointment with them. And that house is, well, you know what? Doro's client got it.
Yep.
So that is the pace for the good stuff out there. And I like that you really shaped that out, Tony, because as you were describing it, if someone was prepped the way that we've talked about so far, so they have their mortgage pre-approval done, they are now going through a buyer consultation where they understand what's out there and they get a sense of how the value works. And then all of a sudden, on day 0, as soon as an agent hits the button to load the listing, they get a notification. Both the husband and the wife can go together, take a look at what's going on in Collab Center, and then contact one of us and arrange a showing. I don't know that you can get faster than that. So I really appreciate that. And I also appreciate that you bought our clients to the win out of that 6 offer, multiple offer. So thank you guys all for coming in and talking a little bit about how we help people through the parts of choosing a house and make sure that they're in they're in the right place at day 0. And if we're introducing the concept of day 0 right now, then you're probably not going to be in a position to get those most desirable houses.